Good morning, good evening, good night, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's your nighttime, right time DJ Music, and welcome to another episode of The Chop Shop. You see it right here on the screen. You see what the title was. We're going to talk about leadership today. Now, I was on a YouTube, I wasn't on a panel. Actually, I just happened to stop in. Big shout out to Mule University. He was holding a stream today where the folks was on there. I'm not sure whether the conversation got derailed or whatever, or I don't know, maybe I was just talking to someone in the chat room. But the question to me was, why do men always say that they're leaders, but when asked to prove it, I'm paraphrasing, they can't? And the only time they want to say that they're not effective leaders or say that they are leaders is when a woman puts them on the spot about being an ineffective leader. Of course, paraphrasing. Now, my response to that was not all men are leaders. Some people say that leaders are made and not born. I kind of tend to agree with that. Now, as far as I'm concerned, these 14 leadership traits that we're about to discuss, I adapted these in junior high when I became a part of NJROTC. And I'm sure a lot of y'all know what that is. I'm sure you had the dudes in the Marine Corps uniforms and the Navy uniforms or the Army uniforms on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They would have to wear the uniforms to school. You'll see them out drilling. You'll see them doing the Christmas parades. You'll see them at the football games and all this other stuff. Was I an effective leader back then? I would happen to think so, because I was the very first black man in my school to hold the position of battalion commander. And that is documented. The very first black kid to hold the position of battalion commander. From there, I know I wanted to go in the Marine Corps. So I started studying these traits long before I knew this was going to be an effective way of running my life. The 14 leadership traits of the Marine Corps has a rich history and dates back to the U.S. Army. Got to give Army what credit's due. These leadership traits were initially outlined in the Department of Army pamphlet number 2022-1, Leadership, in 1948. Some of you folks only know them as numbers. This document described 10 qualities of successful leadership, including knowledge, decisiveness, initiative, tact, manner, bearing, courage, endurance, dependability, justice, enthusiasm. So what I'm saying to you, when I typed that in the chat room, this is why I said to the young lady that most men are not leaders. I didn't say effective leaders. I said this is why most men are not leaders. And then I also said, let's go and pull up these 14 leadership traits that the Marine Corps ascribes to, and let's see how many of these men that's on these panels, let's see how they would stack up to those 14 leadership traits. I guarantee you the very first one of bearing will knock 99.9% of these niggas out the block of being an effective or a leader, period. Much less effective. And we'll see why. As you see right there in the next line, it says the 14 leadership traits explained. So let's just go do just that. The very first leadership trait that we come to is bearing. And what is bearing? Bearing encompasses how a leader carries and how others perceive them. Let me break that down for you. How a leader carries himself or herself and how others perceive him or her. It involves projecting confidence, professionalism, and a sense of purpose. A leader with strong bearing sets of example for their subordinates and earns their respect through demeanor and actions. Bearing is also defined as the way you conduct and carry yourself. Your manner should reflect alertness, competence, confidence, and control. For one to develop bearing, there's a need to hold oneself to the highest standard of personal conduct. Never be content with meeting only the minimum requirements. Never be content. Never be content with meeting only the minimum requirements. And as you can see, that the example that they give of what it is for that have that bearing, and the example wear clean and pressed uniforms. For those of you know that was in the military, you know that's paramount. You know you're going to get inspected. You know that your wall locker has to be squared away. You know that your foot locker has to be squared away. You know these things. You know that anytime you are subject to someone walking up to you and say, hey, you or your uniforms you look like a shitbird today. Go do something about it. Put your uniform in the cleaner. Wash it. Do something. Your boots not shined. Also, an example that they give, avoid profane and vulgar language. Keep a trim, fit appearance. Keep your head, keep your word, and keep your temper. That just knocked out another percentage of those guys that get up on these panels talking about their leaders. Am I correct? Because none of them keep their head, none of them keep their word, and none of them keep their temper. I can start naming them. I can go down the line. The Angry Mans, the BGSs, the Anton Daniels, the this guy, the Jay Princes, all these guys that'll get up on these panels night after night, hour after hour, day after day, screaming at you women about the ills of what they think is wrong with y'all. This very same panel that I was watching today, the host was a man. He was surrounded by women. He disagreed with something that one of the women said, and the first word out of his mouth towards all of those women on that panel was bitch. Knocked him out of the box, didn't it? But he calls himself a leader. Didn't even make it past the very first one. Courage. Number 2. Says it all, doesn't it? Courage, the moral and mental strength to face challenges, take risks, and make difficult decisions. A courageous leader leads from the front, demonstrating bravery and resilience in the face of adversity. Explanation needed? I don't think so, but I'll give you one. Say that you are in combat, literal combat. You're in the Fallujah, you're in Dhahran, or way back when that you're in Vietnam, or you were in World War I, World War II, and your sergeant or your lieutenant said, charge! They inspire their subordinates to do what? To overcome fear and accomplish the mission. That means we're going to have to take this airfield. Some of us might not make it. I loved it, the 54. It's the only family I got. You remember the movie Glory? Oh my Lord, 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 Lord. Leaders who have courage and those who dare to lead by example, who make difficult decisions and act accordingly, even when the outcome is not certain. They are those who are willing to take risks, to do new things, innovate, and are willing to fail. And those, that last sentence right there, and are willing to fail, not everything a leader does is gonna be right. He may make a mistake, He may overanalyze sometimes, but courage is number 2. The morale and the mental strength to face challenges, take risks, and make difficult decisions. When I was in the Marine Corps, because some of my troops called me a courageous leader, you damn skippy they could. And I can guarantee you, I can probably call up about 50, 60 of them right now that will all tell you the same thing. Yeah, he was. Old Sarge was a no-nonsense kind of guy. But listen, I would follow Sarge to the depths of hell, because I know he gonna go with me. Now, this number 3 right here, decisiveness, there's not too much I need to say about that. It's the ability to make timely and effective decisions. It is a trait or a characteristic that describes people who are biased towards actions even though they face uncertainty. A decisive leader analyzes situations, gathers relevant information, and takes decisive action. They have the confidence to trust that their judgment and accept responsibility for the outcomes of their decision. When my troops call me a decisive leader, you damn skippy they would. A decisive leader seeks out the appropriate information. A decisive leader seeks out the appropriate information they need to make good and sound decisions. In addition, they show an understanding of knowledge held by their direct reports, colleagues, and leaders. This helps them gather information from these resources before making a final decision. Notice, what was the word in there? He said leaders, colleagues, and leaders. So that means that even though you are a leader, there's always a leader over you. And that goes back to what I just said before. In order for you to be an effective leader, you got to be willing to follow sometimes. You got to be able to make decisive decisions. You got to, your troops and the folks around you, whether it be in the military or whether it be in the civilian world, those folks got to know that what you talking about, you know what you're talking about. And 90% of the time, folks, the majority of these fellas on these YouTube streams have no idea of what they're talking about. Case in point, BGS with this Monahan report. Just because you highlight something, it does not mean that you know it. That means that you can read. That's all that means. That means you have an idea of where to find information at. That's all that means. Doesn't mean that you know the material. Hell, I know where the library at. I can go find a book on any damn thing. Doesn't mean I know it until I open it up and physically start reading it. But a lot of you guys will get on these streams, can't tell you nothing, because you know everything. You're indecisive, not decisive. Good old number 4, dependability. Goes without saying, doesn't it? Dependability is the quality of being reliable and accountable. Says enough. Do we really need to go any further on this one? Are those guys that up on these streams calling themselves leaders, do they sound like they take accountability for any of the wrongs in their life? Or do they sit around on stream after stream blaming you women? A dependable leader fulfills their responsibilities, follows through on their commitments, and consistently delivers results. I'll say that again, and consistently delivers results. They instill confidence in their subordinates, knowing that they can rely on them as a leader for support and guidance. That, so far, folks, is number 4. And damn it, I don't see any of these guys that they call themselves leaders even making it through number 1, much less way down to number 4. Being a dependable leader means people can trust you. They can rely on you. A dependable person follows through on their plans to keep their promises. The strong relationship built by a responsible leader creates a resilient team that can do what? That can walk through any difficult situation that might arise. Being a dependable leader means that a person can trust or rely on you. A dependable leader follows through on their plans. A strong relationship built by a responsible leader creates a resilient team that can work through any difficulty that may arise. And that's in or out of the field. That's in or out of your office. That's in or out of your pod. That's in or out of your stream. Number 5 is endurance. Is the ability to preserve and maintain stamina in challenging situations. A leader with endurance demonstrates physical and mental resilience, pushing through fatigue and setbacks. Endurance is the ability to withstand hardships, adversities, especially the ability to sustain a prolonged stressful effort or activity. How many of these guys give up? A true leader, an effective leader, inspires the team to keep going, even when faced with adversity. A leader is expected to possess the mental and physical endurance to do hard yards, to ensure people and resources are managed well, to meet the objectives, performance, goals, and outputs, even though they have to go through the toughest of challenges. That's an effective leader. We're gonna roll on down to 6, enthusiasm. Do any of those guys look enthusiastic about anything that they do other than them damn super chats? Hit that link. I ain't gonna give you no information until y'all hit that link. I'm gonna put my shit on. I must put my stream on private. You can go over to Patreon and buy it. Enthusiasm involves displaying passion, energy, and positive attitude toward the mission. An enthusiastic leader motivates their subordinates by showing genuine excitement and dedication. They inspire others to share their enthusiasm and give their best effort. Enthusiastic leaders can make visions come alive. They do this by being inspirational and passionate, and by breathing life into the vision via their enthusiasm or their energy. Enthusiasm is infectious, and it makes leaders more credible. It is the exact opposite of being dull and boring. And I think this is a lot of times why, and I'm speaking more myself personally on this, I think this is a lot of times why we don't go to these different streams to where you could actually learn something. I think this is why a lot of us gravitate to these streams of fuckery. Because the streams that might tell you about what's going on in politics, or the stream that might tell you about what's going on with the weather, ain't no fuckery going on there. So don't nobody want to be around. There's nothing going over there exciting. So nobody want to be there. All right then, folks. You see, let's go back up here to 7. 7 is initiative, proactive approaches, and taking action and seizing opportunities without being told. Well, on some cases, some of you folks in the YouTube streams, I'm going to give you that one. Out of the 7 traits that we've looked at so far, a lot of you only hit one of them. Initiative, being proactive, the approach to taking action and seizing opportunities without being told. A leader with initiative identifies problems, develops solutions, and takes the initiative to implement necessary changes. They inspire innovation and empower their team to take ownership of their work. Gotta take that back. Gotta take that back. Y'all know why. I need to go in further into that. Number 8 is integrity. Integrity is what I feel that a lot of you folks lack. I think this is the main thing of anything that you folks lack is integrity. Integrity is the adherence to morale and to moral and ethical principles. A leader with integrity demonstrates honesty, trustworthiness, and commitment to doing what's right. They lead by example and inspire their subordinates to uphold the highest standards of ethical conduct. We don't see that in the YouTube streets at all. And not only from the men, from the women as well. A lot of us in these YouTube streets lack integrity. Integrity is the adherence to moral and ethical principles. If you was moral, if you had any ethics, you would not be on the stream as a grown man arguing with any woman about anything, especially if she didn't get up out of bed with you that morning. Judgment. That's number 9. Judgment is the ability to make sound decisions based on careful analysis and consideration of relevant factors. None of y'all meet that. And a lot of y'all don't have judgment that some of the stuff that you talk about on your stream could be detrimental to not only the person that you're talking about, but to yourself. Bad judgment. I shouldn't have done this stream, or I shouldn't have said that. And then you try to clean it up by going to, what do y'all do? Go and striking somebody's channel or reporting them to the YouTube police. When you exercise bad judgment, judgment is the ability to make sound decisions based on careful analysis and consideration of relevant factors. Judgment as a leader understands the full context of a scenario, critically analyze facts, adapt new information, get to the heart of an issue regardless of how ambiguous the circumstances may be. A leader with good judgment evaluates situations objectively, weighs potential outcomes, and select the best course of action. They inspire confidence in their subordinates to be consistently making wise decisions. You'll see this word inspire throughout this, because that's what a good leader does. A good leader inspires you to want to be better. A good leader inspires you to want to do more. So far of these 9 traits that we've seen, how many of these 9 traits that I lay before you, that any of these men that get up on these panels say that they're effective or leaders, period? Maybe 1. Number 10, justice. Justice is the fair and impartial treatment of others. A just leader ensures equality and fairness in their decision-making process, devoid of bias or favoritism. They create an environment where all individuals are treated with respect and dignity. Not so, not on a YouTube panel. 11 is knowledge. We don't even have to go through that because we know y'all don't meet that standard. 11 is knowledge. Knowledge, which is, I think, is paramount that you should have if you're going to call yourself a content creator. You just can't always go off celebrity gossip. Knowledge refers to the understanding and the expertise in one's field. If you are a bullshitter, you have no knowledge because you have no expertise, because you're not an understanding. You try and bullshit your way through any conversation. A knowledgeable leader continuously seeks to expand their knowledge, staying abreast of current developments and trends. They provide guidance and mentorship based on their expertise, inspiring their subordinates to learn and grow continually. What about the little black boys? We go get a stream for the little black boys. We gonna hold a stream for the little black boys. How much of that money that y'all folks be collecting, talking about hit the link, or for you that do that have a Patreon or GoFundMe, talking about you're gonna help the little black boys, how much of that little green money have they gotten? There's the word right there that y'all use, mentorship. Are any of y'all considered mentors? I don't think so. This next one goes without saying, folks. 12 and 13, they go hand in hand. Loyalty. Loyalty is the unwavering commitment and dedication to one's organization's superiors and subordinates. A loyal leader supports and defends their team, fostering a sense of unity and trust. They prioritize the welfare and success of their subordinates above their own. There's not a damn YouTube channel that we frequent that can say that they're loyal to each other. Call out some names. Auntie, we just saw someone the other day try to steal your purge idea. I was there when the purge started. I was there when you had like 300 or 400 some followers. I was there the night that you came up with the purge. So if anyone wants to question where the initial purge started at, it was with Auntie. But yet I saw a dude the other day talk about the kickoff of the 2000 year end purge. What the fuck? No loyalty. None. And that comes with tact. If you had tact, you would have not even got on your street. You wouldn't have even named it that. You would have came to the official purge and say what you had to say. Auntie, I hope you don't mind me using you as an example, but I'm right on this one. Whether you agree or disagree with the purge, the fact of the matter is the originator, the person that came up with that idea, whether it was successful or unsuccessful, was Auntie. Tact. The ability to communicate effectively, sensitively, and sensibly in any situation. A tactful leader chooses their words carefully, considering the impact on others, adopting their communication style to different individuals. They foster open dialogue and resolve conflicts with diplomacy. If you folks on the YouTube street, y'all don't even have to worry about that because none of y'all use tact. Just like I said today, just because you disagreed with someone, Daryl Long, the sent God, the first word out of your mouth was, that bitch don't know what she's talking about. That's real tact. And last but not least, folks, unselfishness. Unselfishness is the willing to prioritize the needs of above others, above one's own. And an unselfish leader puts the team goals and well-being ahead of personal interests. They promote a culture of collaboration, teamwork, encouraging individuals to support each other's success. We know that don't happen. So I'll say to you, in conclusion, of those 14 leadership traits that I just laid out for you. Now, some of y'all have to forgive my reading sometime. I do stumble on a few words from time to time. Oh, well, shoot me. But do I consider myself an effective leader? There's a point in time in my life, yes, I was very effective. Do I consider a lot of these men that so-called themselves leaders on these YouTube panels leaders? Hell no. I wouldn't even consider them good followers, much less leaders. They wouldn't be in my squad. They wouldn't be on my fire team. Because they cause, anarchy. They cause situations to arise that not need be. Because of their indecisiveness, because of their jealousy, because of their willingness to want to step on the brother man instead of taking responsibility for what they did. The lack of accountability. I saw this, there was a stream that the name of the stream is accountability, but no one on the panel was taking accountability for what and who they were. So the question was asked to me today, what is an effective leader? And there's 14 reasons. If you find yourself not in one of these 14 reasons, or you're missing some of them, or you can't adhere to some of them, and you know that you're not an effective leader. And you might even know that you're not a leader at all. With that, I'm out here, folks. Have a good one.